All right. So
No
welcome
promises.
to the Power Interviews. You can find us at on Facebook at Power Interviews. Last week we did Lexi Gladman with open houses. Next week we're going to do Kyle Walker with buyer agency, and a week after that we're going to work on referrals, agent referrals. So we're starting to build this thing. There's going to be 8 different agents, all with a different skill level. Most are going to be at an 8 million plus production, which is great. John actually, last year, John did 40 plus houses, right, John?
42.
John. Okay.
42.
I'm going to ask you to stand up in a minute. You keep this up.
42.
42.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yep.
John did 42 homes, which equated to, what was the 14 million?
It was like 11. Yeah,
13.5?
something around there. Like something like that. I thought it was like 12.4 is what it was.
12.4. Okay, that's great.
I wish it was 15. That'd be great. Thank
you. That's why we asked him here today. He's also a good friend of mine, so don't feel bad about him if we start breaking on his chops a little bit. He deserves every bit of it. So, John, let me ask you.
I do. Yes,
Remember
sir.
that old song, Where Did It All Begin?
Yep.
Tell us about it. Where did it all start? And not from birth, please.
Well, it started in 1980. No, okay. There we go. Good to know. 2007, got in the real estate industry. Perfect timing. Sold 1 home that year, took 3 listings, and actually was calling out of a phone book. And so sorry, someone's always trying to call in when I do these things. Calling out of the phone book, someone said, don't do cold calling, you need to do this. So I started doing that, and my business didn't go anywhere. Jumped around from company to company to company, landed in Keller Williams, went through their bold course. I know I preach about that a lot when you guys talk to me, but really dove into what is a dirty word, scripts, and internalized them at a high level. And in that 9-month period, did $7.5 million from joining from March to December.
7.5 million in 9 months in the second year.
Yeah, that was 2014. It was a great year. It was a life-changing year for me. So that started me down the pathway of more personal growth, more business-minded growth.
And
here I am.
And there you are. So you started in 2007, and it wasn't until 2014 you caught the bug. You actually learned how to do this. Is that what you're telling me? And what changed?
Yeah, 2013. Well, 2013, I had my best year ever. And if you look back at the board of realtors, there's like nobody in it. And so your business would naturally double because every transaction doubled that year. So I didn't do anything really spectacular. I just had my best year. What changed was I got very intentional. I had a hard conversation with myself and said, I'm either in this business this year or I'm out of this business this year. And so this person who's coming in from Chicago is teaching this class and saying, say these things this way every day for 2 hours a day, you'll have business. And I didn't believe it. I didn't like it. I didn't want to do any of it. And yet I did it. And then 6 months later, my business started start popping.
And you said a guy out of Chicago.
Yeah, it was actually a lady. Her name's Kara Mole. Super sweet lady. She was a bold coach. She came into class. She did that, walk down the pathway. You meet yourself in the future, write what you said. And it was very intentional and very purposeful. And it's the first time I did anything like that. So it was, 7 years of learning crammed in one day. And I was just like, I was hooked.
So it took, there's an old thing about making decisions. How long did it take you to make that decision, John? About a minute, right?
Yeah, by the end of the day, I was pretty much hooked.
Yeah. So the decision,
the intentionality of it all, right? The decision was made, and then I guess the next step was actually laying the foundation of the steps forward, which was, now I got to say these scripts out loud, and I'm supposed to partner up with people. As you guys, if you haven't taken bold, you partner up with the table member and you practice them. And I did that a few times, and I was very self-conscious. So I started recording myself on my desktop, practicing them so I could watch my mannerisms, watch how my facial inflections were, and no one else could judge me except for myself, which I'm a hard judge of myself, but I don't like other people's judgment.
That's a real important thing, because as you say that, I did the same thing. And I started that years ago, actually, when I sold advertising. There was a cassette tape for you younger people that's two little holes in the middle. Use a pencil to spin it back. Cassette tape in the car. And I had actually taped myself the same way to repeat those conversations
Right.
over and over and over again, which was important. How long did it take you to do that? How long did it take you to internalize what you were saying?
It probably took me, and to be real, 2 months of practicing 1 hour a day, and actually like sitting in front of my computer and doing it. That also entailed on me practicing my listing presentation during that time period as well. So it wasn't just calling, and I was doing my calls in the morning and fumbling through it. So I was live role playing, if you want to say that, and then actually practicing it as well. So I was still making the calls, even though I wasn't a natural. I didn't really know what I was going to say. I didn't really know what the next step was after that opening script or the next objection handle. So that came with more time. That's why I said 6 months. It really started to kind of trajectory on a higher scale, almost like a hockey curve, right?
Right. The you said objection handlers. Did you practice them separately, or did you practice them right with your regular conversation? Or did you learn them from calling people and just fluffing your way through it?
So I practiced the 4 that they gave you during bold, like the 4, I'm taking it off the market, stuff like that. But you do get objections that aren't taught. So hearing enough people on the phone say enough things, you naturally start learning how to objection handle on your own. And it's only because after a while you have the opening script, you kind of know the middle piece of the script, you know how to handle certain things. So you have the ability to actually hear what they're saying instead of thinking about what to reply with. And so when you're able to think about what they're saying, this is just my opinion, I'm able to hear what they're saying, pull apart the things that I feel are important, regurgitate that back to them, and then tell them why it's a benefit of us getting together because of those 3 things that they mentioned. Instead of just when they're talking, thinking, what am I going to say? What am I going to say? What am I going to say? I can actually hear it and then apply some verbiage that's been pulled through different scripts that I've read or even practiced.
So what I'm taking away from this, and we're not going to harp on script, because I think there's more to it, to using those scripts in the proper way. All right. If you're not comfortable dealing with somebody else, role playing with somebody else, do it yourself. Put it on tape, practice yourself, do it that way. Not everybody's a dialer, John. I know you can go through and listen to your music and have 3 lines ringing, and that's the way you do it. At least that's the way you started back in 2013. But now more than anything, your business has grown to the point where when you meet somebody, and I think that's why a lot of us are here, let's talk about conversations. We're in conversations every day. How do we pull? How do we listen for those buying signals? What do we say? How do I take my cousin who just wanted to talk to me, period, and all of a sudden work it into a conversation that she knows somebody that wants to buy, or she needs to sell, or how does that work? Can you share that? You're at a party.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're at a party. You should always be on. Your RAS should always be up for real estate, so you should always be listening and thinking.
Your RAS is what?
Your RAS is like the back end of your brain. Like when I journal, I always journal. I'm so grateful for business that chases me down. That way, my brain's always thinking about business or something that's coming my way, and you trip into it just kind of unnaturally that way sometimes. Though, if you're at a party, the Ford method is something that always has been preached, and I hate saying preached about things, though, family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. And if you actually are intentional about your conversations with people and you actually delve into them, you ask them questions, the surface question will be like, so how's everybody in your family doing, right? And they're going to blab about their family because no one doesn't like to talk about themselves. So they're going to blab about their family, and as they're talking about their family, you might know their cousin or somebody, you might ask another question, but you're going to hear about a change in that family. So if you hear about a change in that family, hey, yeah, my daughter's going to college and my son's going into grade school or whatever that may be, I always think, okay, where do they live, how they live, what does that look like, and is there an intentional question like, oh, so great, going to college, you guys going to buy him are you guys going to put him in the dorm, or are you guys going to buy an investment property to kind of pay for that?
You don't think that's too forward?
Just get them to start thinking and asking questions back. I mean, no, your insurance provider would ask the same question if you said, hey, I'm having a new baby. Hey, you might want to get that gap insurance in case something happens, or your life insurance in case something happens. It's not an unnatural question, and it's a valuable question because what if he's like, I didn't even think about that, and you're like, yeah, you could buy an investment property downtown, put 4 people in it, pay your rent, probably make some profit, cover your mortgage, and in 4 years you either can sell it or continue renting it. So I think it's people grow into the conversations you create, so you create those conversations around them.
People grow into the conversations that you create. Yep. You created that conversation. Let me share a story. About 6-7 years ago, I was back up on Long Island attending somebody's graduation. Little guy there, a little shorter guy with a bowler on, a hat, and a nice jacket. It was 80 degrees. And I'm sitting there talking to him. I find out he's an attorney. And this kid comes walking over, big, burly guy. And the attorney turns to him and he goes, so how did it happen? I went, what the heck's this guy talking about? And the kid says, on a football field. I'm thinking, what did he, well, the attorney was on, he was looking for work. And he noticed that the kid had shorts on, right, and he had a scar on his leg. That's how he started his conversation. How did it happen? And the kid, and of course he went into a further attorney speak with him. And sure as heck, the kid had never filed suit or anything else. And he picked himself, gave him a card, and that was the end of it. So we create conversations, and that's the bigger part of this whole thing. What other conversations can you think of, John, that you've had that have turned into major deals? And how do they start, and what were the downfalls? Where can we get in trouble here?
I don't really think you get into too much trouble when you talk to people, as long as again, you're being authentic with yourself and you're not chasing a mighty dollar. People know if you're sniffing around for a dollar because you guys can do it when you get a phone call from somebody or someone's door knocking your neighborhood for windows. You can sniff a dollar. So I don't think there's a downfall as long as you're being very authentic, very purposeful, and very honest with who you are, what you're looking to accomplish. So there's no downfalls, in my opinion, to talking to people.
I agree.
If they don't want to talk to you, they say, I don't want to talk to you, and you move on. So there's a little bit of rejection is not a big deal.
Not a big deal.
Other conversations you can have, something I've been very purposeful about when I came to this company, when I go to the events, is I talk to other high producers. I talk to Bolt. Every time Bolts come, people laugh at John's taken it 12 times. You haven't learned a thing. I've learned a lot of things. I get really friendly with the coaches, and I get them to send my name around the country as they're going to different markets. Because if they're saying, I'm in Ohio, and all of a sudden they're teaching a class and they have someone that's looking to come to Charleston. Hey, Jay Michael, who do you know that's moving? Like, who's your agent in Charleston? I'm that guy, right? So I have several bold coaches so you don't have to just go after people. You can go after other realtors in other areas and provide value that way. I send them referrals, they send me referrals. It's just an easy way to get extra business.
And it is an easy way to get extra business.
I don't know if that's.
We're going to discuss that with Desiree Maurer in about 2 weeks, who is like, I think
cool.
her business
She's great
is
at it too.
She's excellent at it.
She's phenomenal at it. Absolutely.
Of your database, and I think one of the things that you said earlier was the mindset. In 2013 to 14, how did your mindset change into those conversations?
Great question. I think I started listening to a lot more inspirational people. I started doing affirmations, which I thought were really super goofy. And, you say these things 5 times out loud, they come true. I do believe that now. I have certain things that I write every morning. I write affirmations. I'm a $20 million producer. I found out that I wrote over $20 million worth of real estate. I didn't close all of it. So now my affirmation is I closed $20 million of real estate, right? So those things, again, I'm affirming to myself of who I am, and I'm being very specific of what I desire. And I use different words. I've changed my language. Instead of want, I use desire. And then, so my mind shifted that way in terms of just being very intentional. What it is I truly wish for my life, and what does it look like for my wife? Like, my goal was to have enough money so she didn't have to work if she chose not to. She hasn't been back to work since, so I probably should have changed that goal. I'm teasing, of course.
Girl.
But I mean,
Smart woman.
yeah.
Get out there, Johnny. Get out there.
And so that's the mindset, though. Like, she will never have to go back to work unless she chooses to.
So you're telling me that mindset.
So I know I'm the kind of person that's going to get up and make sure that happens for my family.
Right. You do a great job of it, by the way.
It's 80%.
That's 80%, right?
Thank you.
It's 80%.
I mean, confidence is 80%. Mindset should be that just the same amount, in my opinion.
Talk to me about confidence. We've got a lot of new agents on the line. Talk to me about confidence. When you walk into any conversation that you have, and just so everybody understands, script, the word script to me, I'm used to it. I learned how to script years and years ago. I understand it. I'm very comfortable with the word. A lot of people go the other way because a script is what? It's something I have to say. I don't feel comfortable saying it. There are words that don't come out of my mouth naturally. Well, eventually they do. And you put your own inflection on it. I think John will say that, and anybody else that's in sales. Eventually those words come out almost automatically. We listen, we respond. Objection handlers, we respond. They're all the same. They're all the same. So that script is just like rolling into McDonald's. I like to call them conversations because it feels easier for the people that are coming up. Conversations, specific, directed conversations, trying to get to an end. And that end is an appointment, a pipeline, a nurture, something on. This is the way you build your pipeline. I know John. I've known John for 5-6 years now, and I know his pipeline is deep, and it's in his head, and it's maybe in a database, but he's got that pipeline out there. I'm going to ask everybody else, if you have any questions, type them into the chat, and we'll make sure John gets them as we go along.
I think you mentioned confidence, right? So how do you become confident in something,
right?
Especially if you're new? And I think having the understanding of what to say, how to say it, and when to say it builds nothing but confidence. Because again, if you're always on the defense, and I look at every kind of appointment as an offensive, defensive game, I'm always on the offense, right? I know exactly what I'm going to say. I'm going to steer them to a conversation and the destination that is going to naturally have them understand that I'm the best choice for them. And so I'm that confident that every time I go on an appointment, I know I'm going to win, right? And so I know what to say, when to say it, and it's only because I know what they're going to ask me. Sometimes because I coach them ahead of time. When I come over, here's some things you'd always think about, right? And now they're always thinking about those things, so they're going to ask me about those things, and I have the natural answer. So you can supply them subliminally the questions that they should be asking you, which I think is a great way to do it. But also, if you know the common theme of meeting with people and what they're naturally going to ask, can you cut your commission? Would you do it for less? What does this look like? You have the ammunition all up here. You already know the answers, so you don't have to worry about what to say and how to do it. And if you practice, that becomes confident. The first time I played basketball, I was not a confident basketball player. I'm probably still not a confident basketball player. But as I started practicing, I could dribble, I could jump, I could shoot, right? So I got more confident to go out there and do things. So with practice comes confidence. And if you watch multi-million-dollar sports players, that's all they get paid to do is practice.
How many, from Betsy Green, how many years did it take you to deal with million-dollar properties? Did it build gradually?
So that's a great question. The most expensive home I've ever sold was $890,000.
There you go. There you go.
So,
Betsy, I'll tell you, the first million-dollar property I got was from a conversation I had with a guy that probably made $12 an hour. Okay. And somebody asked him, he sent me an email and said, "Do you sell million-dollar properties?" And I went, "Hell yeah, bring it on." It was some girlfriend of his from 20 years before. So it's like anything else. We learn as we go along. It's all about the transactions. Yeah.
What was our second question?
42 transactions last year.
Yeah, I'm a numbers guy. I had a good buddy at one point that was I had a good buddy that at one point that was all about doing the $800,000-900,000 deals, and he would do one every other month or every 2 months or every 3 months, and he would always brag about it, and I'd be like, yeah, but I've got the same amount or more under contract, and if we both have a problem with the contract, I'm still going to get paid on 4 or 5 of those homes, and you're not. So it's all about, in my opinion, the more you have, it also makes you a better advocate for your client, because now I'm not so stressed on that one deal to have that one check to come in and pay my bills. Now I have several of them out there. I'm a lot more confident to deal with the other agents. They're not going to push me around as much, and I'm not forced to sell you down the river, down a home. If that makes any sense.
I think the other part of that is you know, John's right. The $1 million, the 890,000. You got that one client. It's your paycheck. It's a great paycheck for a year. But if you're dealing with 4 or 5 other clients, those are 4 or 5 other people that you are now tapping into for referrals, for resales, and everything else that goes along with it. So as you sell more properties at whatever price range, the more properties you sell, the more people you have to sell to and get referrals from. You find that, right? John is constantly doing referrals.
Yeah, totally. And I saw another question here. Sorry. I was trying to read the questions and
Josh says, if it helps, I closed 46 units for only 9.4 in 2015. And there you go. So he's got 45 clients now, if they're all single.
And that's the beautiful thing about it too, is every deal is a future of 7 deals. And we know that people move every 3 to 5 years, maybe 7 now is what they're saying, but I've had a lot more 3 to 5. And they're moving up buyers, right? So I get a sale, buy, sale, buy. But Betsy, my 2013, I did 13 transactions. 2014, I did 36 transactions.
It's all the mindset. It's all the
mindset
that
helps answer your question.
It's practicing.
Yeah. And I didn't do really well during the downturn because of short sales. I didn't do what you were doing during the downturn, short sales and doing the REO stuff.
Oh, yeah,
I was just, I had no leadership and no guidance. So I was just throwing lots of stuff against the wall and getting very little to stick.
And to go back to Betsy's question, from 20 transactions to 50 a year, if you pull up MLS, John, Josh, these are guys that are in the top 200 on MLS. John, I think this week I keep track of numbers. John's like 151 on MLS this year so far. So these are guys that are producing at a high level and have specific skills. And we haven't gotten to John's skill yet because, he's just that all-around kind of guy. John, what do you consider the biggest thing that you do to drive that business to you? And how can you help these people on this call use that skill to take more territory, get more deals?
So I think I do 3 things really well. The first one is I'm not afraid to pick up the phone and get rejected for multiple hours a day. I think that's the number one, that's the first thing that got me on a trajectory of becoming a top realtor, if that's what you want to call me. All right. I was able to pick up the phone, get on it consistently, 2 hours a day, sit in the room, call, go on appointments, get rejected, come back, do it again. And that's the hard way. So that's not the fun way, but that's the hard way, but it's the way that I chose. And then about a year or 2 after that, I started really diving into my sphere, because after a while I started building up a client base and I started attending classes that said, ask for referrals. And how do you ask for referrals? You call them and ask them. So I would, after talk to people for 2 years, I'd start calling and asking them and staying very, very purposefully in touch with them. And then Facebook started becoming more of a tool for me. So I have everybody on certain things on Facebook. I have a business page. I do a lot of videos. They're targeted to my sphere. They're targeted to certain people. So they're always seeing me and they're always staying top of mind. And I'm always, it's kind of a weird, sick game on Facebook, but I like stuff of theirs. I follow them. I have different groups on my Facebook page. So I'm always involved in them. It's a thumbs up on something. It's silly. And yet that helps me stay top of mind, because we all have heard this before. You got two places in your mind. It's Pepsi, Coke. It's McDonald's and Burger King, right? It's one of the two. So I'm always trying to be one of the 2 realtors that they know. And we're in Charleston. They know 20 of them, but I want to be the one of the 2 that they think of. So those are the three things I feel like I've done really well at, is staying very purposefully in touch with my database, still willing to pick up the phone call, and Facebook videos and doing videos and just putting a ton of content out there and ignoring all the thoughts in your head about that content, because that's the hard part. And everyone thinks they're not good at video. Well, if you look at some of my first videos, they were horrible. They still aren't good, but they're getting better.
Still aren't good. No, they're excellent videos. I think one of the things there, if you're going to take anything out of that one, is learn before you earn. I think everything you said today is about learning, right? You learned how to do your scripts.
Yep.
You practiced them. You learned how to do the Facebook. You practiced it. You got it done, and people are real forgiving when you're in that space. I think. I mean, I do videos and they're worthless. I mean, not worthless, but I mean, I don't care. I really don't care. I'm giving you information.
Right.
Here it is, and turn around. They invite me in. I mean, what else? What else can you share that would be of value with these folks?
I mean, we're in such a good company. If not, everybody's here in KW. What haven't you asked me?
I think we got a good company. Everybody here is on KW right now. I haven't gone out to the big time.
Yes. So there's classes, right? I'm very learning based. And again, if you're purposeful about what you're doing, when these instructors come to town, you might strike up a friendship. You might, if the guys are traveling around the area, you might get them to champion your name on a Facebook group, and you might take a nugget or two that you can apply to your business, right? I'm always looking for something that maybe I've heard the same way, but now it's differently said because another person's come in and put their spin to it, and it might click on me. So learning base is probably the number one thing that you should do. But really close to number one would be the application of your learning. If you don't apply what you're learning, there's no point in learning anything. So plug into the company and then take action. That's where I think, and don't worry about what your thoughts are in between your ears, because I have them too. Right? I still don't think I'm good. I think I have a lisp. I think I talk silly. I think I look funny. My hair is too long. But I don't care. I do it because I know it's going to get me what I need to get. And
if you really want to see John in action, go back to about 2008 and look at the picture he has on his signs. You would not know this was the same guy. It's horrible. It is horrible.
I used to use a Flowbee, man. He cut my hair with a Flowbee.
He did. He got a Flowbee. Still does. Still does. It was no
I got rid of it.
No facial hair. Just hilarious. Hilarious.
I did the traditional realtor look.
You did. Did it work? Well, you know what? Let's talk to that. You don't look right. You don't look right. Did that stop you at all?
It didn't work, and I think so, because I wasn't being who I want to be, which is me. I was putting on a front that I'm a successful realtor at the age of 24 years old with a suit from Jose Bank and the hair slicked over with the shoes. I still like my shoes. I was not authentic. And I think people really read on that. And so you really need to become you and be comfortable in your skin, because you're going to attract the people that are like you. You definitely need to put a little showmanship on when you're in a seller's home, right? Dress up a little bit. I do believe in that. Yet you got to be you. If you're not you, people are going to read through you quickly. And I felt like for the first 3 years, that's what
I think that authentic, you got to be, especially for the new people coming in or anybody that's struggling with it, be yourself. Honestly, be yourself. This is what people buy. They buy you first, then they buy the company, then they buy the product. So if you're not authentic, if you're not truthful, honest with them, they're not going to buy you, and they're going to know exactly that you're, if you don't know something, you don't know it, and be that way. I think John found that out. I found it out. I'm sure anybody that's been in sales knows that too. You don't have to be on all the time. You can be yourself and still be a good closer. What else? Let me just go down through my notes here.
Always ask for the appointment. Always ask for the appointment. You said be a good closer. You could be the best script person if you never actually ask for the appointment. And you need to ask 3 to 5 times.
And we know people
and it's not a hard thing to do.
I counseled a guy a couple of years back, I counseled a kid a couple of years back, and he says, Greg, I'm not getting there. He wasn't being authentic. I said, just be yourself. just be yourself. He was doing open houses for his pillar. Just be yourself. And he was himself. And he took all these people. He said, came to me about a year later, goes, Greg, something's wrong, man. These people keep buying from somebody else. He says, I nurture them. And then I call them up and they said, oh, we just bought a house. And I'm like, what's happening? He says, I said, are you asking them to buy a house from you? He never closed them. Since that day, and it was about 2 years ago, that kid turned from 7 deals a year to 20 deals a year, simply because he started closing people. He recognized, he started closing. You have to close them. You have to ask that closing question. What's your favorite close, John? Is there one?
I don't think there is one. I think there's just, it really depends on the situation, the conversation, right? There's several different ways to close somebody. You can do the direct one, hey, let's get together. You can do the indirect one, hey, do you think it's good to get together? There's just enough, Google closing questions and you could probably find them. I don't think I have a favorite. I think I'll use I mirror and match very well with people. So if I can pick up on their body language through the phone or their tonality, I'll use their same kind of language and their language patterns. So I don't really have a favorite one. They're all my favorite because they're all going to get me.
And that's mirror, yeah, and I agree. That's mirror and match, right? Mirror and match.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you're doing it, we got a couple more people chiming in. What is that? What is that question? I think the closing part of it is a natural ending to the conversation. You agree?
Yeah, totally. So I just read your question, Betsy. It really, again, it depends. Like, I'm not going to ask everybody, hey, you want to buy a house? Because not everybody the conversation might not even be there. But if you have like an online lead, it's definitely, hey, what is your intention in the next 12 months around looking at homes? Do you have a need before then? Right? You're just asking open-ended questions because it's not, do you need to buy a house? What's your intention around looking on the site? Are you guys looking in the next 12 months or you need something before then? Well, actually, I'm looking in the next 6 months. Great. What's important about that? Like, what's your timeline? Do you have a home to sell before you can buy a home? No, I'm renting. Okay, great. When's your lease up? You just start asking questions and people just naturally just vomit all the information you're looking for. And then naturally, they're just going to think you're the best person ever. So then you ask, wouldn't it be great if we got together today? That way, when the time does come, you can make the best decision for you, your family, those involved. No, I don't want to meet right now. Fantastic. Well, why don't we get together in like 2 weeks? I'll put it on my calendar right now. We can chat about it. I'm just going to give you a bunch of information. That way, when the time does come to look for a home, you're ready. Because it takes about 45 days to close on a home. It takes another 45 days to actually probably identify and find a home. So there's 3 months right there. You're moving out in 4 months. Why don't we get together next 2 weeks? Because people don't realize what the timeline of that is, right? And that's a script is what that is. It's a conversation that I would have with somebody, though. And it doesn't always work. So be prepared for the no.
Right. Exactly. I mean, it's like anything else. So, and how did you get all this knowledge, John? How'd you get this mind-exploding knowledge?
I think it's plugging yourself around certain people. I mean, me and you have had many conversations when I used to drink bourbon in the office. And I'd have a glass of bourbon, and we would just have a conversation around scripts. Like, what did this situation happen? And we just dialogue it, right? So you practice it with friends, and you make it fun. That's 1. 2, you actually go and learn the information. And then 3, you kind of got to learn by getting punched in the face a couple of times. You got to pick up the phone and call someone and actually know what it's like to have the conversation. And it's gut-wrenching scary, and it's not fun. The more you do it, it's still not fun, but you just get so much better at it that it doesn't bother you as much as it did in the beginning. Your skin toughens. Hanging out with you toughens your skin a lot too.
Yeah, John, I got to agree with you there because I learned, it's like I said earlier in one of the videos, I always get value from John. His mind goes and he talks, and because his Raz is there all the time closing, and this is where your mind has got to be. Your mind has to be on real estate. Do you agree with that, John?
It's on it.
Your mind has to be on real estate. This is your.
Fortunately,
and everything that has to do with real estate has got to be in your mind at that time. So we sit around, we talk, and we're not talking. I mean, we're just having a conversation, trying to close each other. that right there is probably one of your best learning experiences. You're not sitting there reading one document. It's about having a conversation. It's about using your own words, but knowing that, hey, so what you're telling me, John, knowing those words, so what you're telling me. So if we could do, would you do? You know, every little nuance so that you work them into the conversation. You know, my clients felt the same way, and here's what they found. You know, feel, felt, found.
Yep.
These are things that you learn. Where do you find them, John?
You find them. I mean, reach out to Craig. He's got information. KW's got a ton of information. Knock on the door of people who are doing 25 deals a year, and ask them what they're doing. That's the first thing I actually did when I came to KW. Is I knocked on everybody's door and asked them what they're doing. I found out the guy Gary Short was making 60 grand a month on rentals.
Yep.
Because he managed a company. So like know about these things. That's how I became friendly with Anton, and that's been a lifelong changing relationship just based on numbers and conversations and values, because he's got me now like paying attention to values of homes. So there's a ton of information in your office. There's a ton of information in the agents in your office, and then I mean, go to classes. Honest to God, go to classes and apply the information.
I think classes. I think you and I both had different mentors when we first started, and I
Totally.
I dare say that I worked pretty hard for a guy for about 6, 7, 8 months for nothing, zero, nil, nothing. But I learned a lot about, number one, the area, number two, the values, everything that I needed to know as a base while I went to Floyd Wickman, while I went to Tom Ferry, and every other coach that I could find, trying to get that value. It's up to the individual agent to find that value and find that education.
Agreed. I did the same thing. I had a mentor, and I called it, I was a gopher. I just got 25% of, some of the deals I did, and I did everything.
I mean,
but I learned a lot. I was there for 2 years. I learned a lot. It shortcutted my learning curve after the first year.
I think jumping into real estate, everybody goes, I want to make $100,000. But man, there's you don't jump into any business knowing everything, and no business is going to start you at top pay grade. And I think that's where newer agents have to get in there and be inquisitive, bring some value to the senior agent. What are we going to do? How do we help this guy? How could it be a symbiotic relationship that I can help you and you can help me? And I think that's where a lot of agents get off on the wrong foot. And
would you take me on a listing appointment if I was to pick up your lock boxes and take your signs or show property for?
I left the brokerage one day.
I left the
brokerage because I asked the broker, hey, can I go on a listing appointment with you? Because I wanted to learn more. And I had already had about 5 or 6 years in the job. And he kind of looked at me and laughed and went, no. What was he afraid of? I don't know. I mean, I'm paying him regular brokerage fees. So pick your people wisely. Pick who you're going to follow or mentor wisely. That being said, John, you need any help? I'll be happy to come over.
You want to show some property for tomorrow?
There you go. Okay. You're lagging a little bit.
Show property tomorrow for me?
You're lagging. No, I'll pass.
Internet sucks.
I know you. We got to get you better in your big house. What else we got? Betsy, did we answer your question? Sean, did we answer your question? Okay. Closings, everything that you have, I've got and I'll put it in the documents, I swear, Wayne. I'll put it in there. I've got objection handlers. If you go to @Power Interviews on Facebook, join the group. This is where all these recordings will live. I'm not going to try to push for an hour if we're all done. I think, John, do you want to share anything else?
No, I think I vomited enough.
I don't think so.
If you guys ever need any help, if you guys ever need any help to help out.
Hey, let me ask you one more question.
Sure.
You know that close? Let me ask you one more question. You got time for one more?
That's a question. You just did.
What's something you failed at?
What haven't I failed at? I failed at listing appointments. I failed at cold calling. I failed at door knocking. I failed at every aspect of this business. And through failure, you have success. That's what Gary says. I believed it.
You have
luckily,
success.
luckily, I believed it.
What if you were to give some guidance here for newer agents or agents that are on the call, what are some of the roadblocks to this industry you want them to avoid?
Oh God, there's a ton of them, right? Don't go spending money on shiny objects. They're not going to make you better. No one cares about your website. There's a million of them out there, and they can search for homes anywhere.
Say that again.
So don't make it. No one cares about your website. People can search for homes anywhere. Don't make your Don't worry if your website's not the prettiest. No one really cares. They can go anywhere to find the home they want.
So where would I
be
spend my
careful
money?
of who you're taking. I mean, pick up a dialer, get a list of people, prospect your neighborhood. Farm your neighborhood. Do some Facebook paid advertising towards the people that know you, like you, and all that. That's what I would do. I would be intentional around the people that I know, like, and trust me, and also build my confidence on the people that don't, because I don't mind failing in front of them. Does that make sense?
It does. I think I hear you saying we don't have to be everything to all people. Deal with people you like, you trust, and they trust you back. It's a much easier close, and more deals coming out of that.
Absolutely.
More deals coming out of that. Anybody else got questions for John? Because I'm going to go down my list and hit him with a couple more. If you could have dinner with 3 people, dead or alive, who would it be, other than grandparents?
Does it have to be real estate related, or just anybody?
Not at all.
Dead or alive, one would be Bob Marley.
Cool.
Jesus is still alive, in my opinion. So, I mean,
Okay.
I guess that would be a good one to have.
Got it.
And then the third one would probably be, I'd love to see like someone from the extreme past, like the first king of Egypt or something. Like, what the hell was going on back there? I'm a history buff. That's one of my biggest things. So Bob Marley's probably my number one I would want to meet.
There you go. Crack open a little.
I like his music.
Cool. All right. Any more questions? Next week we're going to be talking with. Thank you, John. I appreciate it. I dragged John out of the dregs of this morning, and he was happy to come on. I hope. And I hope it was a good experience for you.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I hope it was good for them. I can talk all day.
John Keller Williams. He is over in Mount Pleasant office. He is a solo agent at the moment, and he's available at all times for your listening pleasure. The next week we're going to be talking to, it's scheduled, an agent that is a very high level buyer's agent, and how he leverages, and leverage is not a dirty word if you use it correctly. Leveraging in my book is when 2 people work together with skills that benefit the other. One's learning, one's giving, one's admin, one's, everything works together. And everybody's making money. You're not leveraging somebody, go out and dig the ditch. Oh, now fill it back in. No, it's just a symbiotic relationship. So next week we got Kyle Walker coming in from what I know. Kyle is a long-term agent from the food and beverage originally. And I think he's from Kansas, right? He's from Kansas. So we're going to have him in same time, same channel. I would love to hear your feedback. Send it to me. If it's too long, too short, not concise enough, I intend to grow this. My passion is get out of the real estate sales business. That's what I got a couple of little teams here for, okay? Get out of the real estate sales business and get into the consulting and coaching business. I'm not looking to coach people, you got to stay for 12 months. No, it's pretty much coming in, hitting your business, looking at your business, and then giving you my observations of your business, what I feel you can change. I call it black hat. I've done it too. I'm known for it. Anybody out there, raise your hand. I ever helped you? Okay, good. Super. So that's where my business is going, and hopefully we're going to get even further out into the region in the next couple of weeks. So if you can help me, do me a favor, like, share, talk, whatever you can do. I appreciate it if you find some value. Can I help anybody on here? That's my question right now. Anybody need help?
Show property for me tomorrow.
No. No. No.
Hey, John, I get off my crutches next week. I'll be glad to show property for you, man.
Oh, thank you.
The floor is open. You guys got it. I appreciate
you
you coming through. Go ahead and talk.
Thanks, Flanagan. Thank you, John.
Thank y'all, guys.
Thanks, Greg and John.
Appreciate it.
Greg, I'll
Hope
see
I
you soon.
didn't just ramble. Hey, Lexi.
Hi, John. Great job.
Lexi was
Yeah,
a superstar last week.
You've heard it all before.
You both killed it.
I know. I had big shoes to fill.
You did.
Set the bar up here. She set the bar
That's
up.
okay. I brought it down for Kyle so he can come up a little bit.
Is there anybody that doesn't know Josh Stamps? He's rolling around here. Josh just came over to Keller. Josh came over to Keller Williams yesterday or the beginning of the week, Josh?
Something like that. I think, what's today? Thursday? Yeah, Tuesday, I think.
Cool.
Maybe Monday? I don't know.
It was a life
I know
change.
Josh by name.
What's that?
Yeah, John.
I said I know Josh by name.
Okay.
I pay attention to the board all the time. So
There you go. There you go. As all you big producers do.
Josh,
Well, that's cool.
It's like Jesse DeCristofano.
Who?
At first, I thought it was Jesse.
the Cristofaro.
Yeah,
It's not a bad. It's a compliment, Josh. It's a compliment.
I
Yeah,
wouldn't say it if
he's
it
about
wasn't.
20 years younger than you are. Dark. You know. That's funny. That's funny. All right.
Not that you don't
Good.
stand on your own. Yeah.
Sean McKay, how you doing, young lady?
Good. Good. In the office.
Good to hear. Good to hear.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see you next week. Same time, same channel. Registration's open. If you shoot those emails, how are the emails doing? Too many? Not enough? Did I remind you this one last time that got you on the call?
No, it was a good level.
Okay. Wasn't bad? Okay.
Doing great, Greg. Thank you.
You're welcome, dear.
Thank you
Congratulations
very
on
much, you
listening.
guys.
Thank you.
That's good. That's big
Thanks.
numbers. I didn't see what the price was. What was it?
670.
Excellent. Thanks, John. I
Bye.
appreciate it.
Thank
brother.
you.
A lot.
See you later.
Okay, guys. I'll talk to y'all later.
Bye.